Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. Glad to have you guys here today. Today's the 14th, Thursday, 14th of November, 2019. Let's get started. Let's open up the charts right here, and this is a huge talking point for me. Now, there's a lot of people in my audience out there who are a little bit very nervous. Actually, they're very nervous. Some of them have not bought cryptocurrencies because they're worried about this. Governments banning cryptocurrencies, and then cryptocurrencies disappearing, and then they're worried that their investment's going to disappear too when the big ban's going to come. Now, I want to talk about this in some detail. First off, you have to realize that Facebook wanted to try to get litecoin through. Now, the governments of the earth, going back to the time of kings, used to have what's called a treasury, and they'd issue the currency of the day. And this is a power that's held by now it's held by the central banks, but at one time it was held by the Treasury. And this is why they call it the Department of the Treasury, or the Treasury. Because quite literally, the king would have a big room, he'd collect taxes, gold coins and stuff, and he'd throw them in the room, and the room was full of treasure. So it was a part of the castle, where they had the treasure. They'd have the treasure there, the king's treasure. And it would be used for funding government operations. It was gold. Gold and silver is what it was. It would be used for funding the kingdom. And so they've taken that word and they've moved it to the modern time, a treasury. And the governments, they have the right to print these fiat currencies, and they're not backed by anything, as part of the treasury. As this gives them tremendous power. And so litecoin, run by Facebook, was going to take that power of the treasury and use it. But since 2009 until now, Bitcoin has got the same power as Libra, but it doesn't have to ask for permission. litecoin had to ask for permission. Hey, can we do this? And the government regulators had to come along and say, well, maybe, maybe not. And after a while, they took a little bit different opinion. No, we don't think we're going to let you do it. And you got to pass these certain laws. Bitcoin never asked for that permission. Bitcoin has that same power of litecoin, but it never asked for it. It took it. And the reason why it took it is because Bitcoin and the other cryptocurrencies are decentralized. They operate on a network on the internet that is not just decentralized, but it's also it's open software. The source code and everything, it's free to all. And this is why they've made so many different coins, is a lot of them were copies off of Bitcoin. I mined a coin quite a few years ago that was made for Kanye West, and it was called Coiny. And I guess he didn't like it and he shut it down or whatever. Something happened anyway. I mined a few of them. I got them someplace on some hard drive someplace. But my point is cryptocurrency is pretty much unstoppable. Because each and every computer on the internet that holds the Bitcoin ledger, which is called a full node, and you can download it. I mean, on this computer right here, I've got the Litecoin original wallet, which contains the full ledger. Right? And so all the information is stored on the entire blockchain from the beginning of Litecoin until right now, right this second, is on that wallet, stored in a data file. It's a rather big file inside my computer, right? And if they were to destroy all of Litecoin everywhere else outside my studio, I would still be able to restore the entire Litecoin network from the information I have on my computer. All of the blockchain information's there. Every single transaction. It's the same way with Bitcoin. Quite literally, every full node wallet, is stored on every computer for Bitcoin that anybody has the original Bitcoin wallet on their computer. And I think it's something like 80 gigabytes now of information, maybe 100. I haven't kept up, but I know it's a very large file. But what's happened is computers and their ability to store information has increased as the file size has increased. So it's what's called scalability. So it scales because now our computers store more and more. It's not uncommon for a person a few years ago to buy a laptop and it had 500 gigabytes for the hard drive. Now it's got like 4 terabytes or 5 terabytes. So information levels have increased as the size of Bitcoin's blockchain increases. So we have all these computers stored out there. They would have to basically get that information off of and destroy it on every single computer that that information is stored on in order to really rid the world of Bitcoin. And then even if they did all that, somebody could come along with that technology now that we now have of a decentralized ledger that's automated ledger that stores all the information of blockchain technology. Somebody could come along and restart it up again, even if they got rid of it all. And the only way to get rid of it all really would be to get rid of the internet. And then where are we? We're back in the Stone Age. So they can't really get rid of Bitcoin. Now what about banning it? Saying, okay, we're not having it in our country. If the United States says, okay, no more Bitcoin, do you know how hard it is to enforce that? Virtually impossible. And are the people going to go along with it? Or will it move it all underground? Now, you have to understand that Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies have been running as a parallel system right out in the open to the present monetary system. So it's running as a parallel monetary system to the present monetary system that's already in place. And because of that, it's feeding off of the weaknesses in the regular monetary system. It's feeding off of that. And this is going to intensify as the regular monetary system now has become unstable. And so it's going to grow this secondary monetary system. Banning it in one country when it's worldwide anyway, you'd really have an effective ban on cryptocurrencies. You would essentially have to have all of the countries of Earth cooperate with each other on banning it. And it would be very difficult to enforce it even still. It would go underground and it would become still a parallel way of storing money to the conventional monetary system. If they were to all work together, and when have the governments on Earth ever worked together on anything in unison? I mean, and if they don't all work together, well, the countries that allow Bitcoin are going to, it's going to grow there. So basically what we're actually working with is a world reserve currency already. Bitcoin is the world reserve currency. The United States dollar is losing its position at world reserve currency. They're looking to the world to come up with something new. A new world reserve currency is saying could be the yuan. No, the yuan would never replace the dollar. What could it be? The British pound? No, that used to be the world reserve. That's not anymore. The dollar's going down. It's being undermined. It's actually heading toward a hyperinflation. And what's going to replace it? Well, Bitcoin's already there. It's used all over the world. So it's world. And it's starting to become a store of value. So what do we see happening with Bitcoin right now? We see that the price is going along stable. It could even go down, or it could go up, but it doesn't matter because of the situations that's happening in the world. What Bitcoin is going to become remains unchanged. It's in position. It's positioned itself to become a world reserve currency. And as such, it becomes the perfect store of value because of its limited supply. And also, it mimics gold. What they've created is they've created the most perfect money. Their efforts in trying to stop it or ban it or anything don't really, they've had all these years, they've known about it, they've had meetings after meetings. What are we going to do with Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies? And it never goes anywhere. Meanwhile, Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies are growing as an undercurrent. I can only see a future where if they don't stop this thing, and I don't see any way they really can, where it's going to take over. Still healthy enough, And if they went to the doctor and the doctor said, well, we found this cancer in every part of your body, but I know you're still healthy. That's the way that the economic system is right now. It's got Bitcoin here, there, and everywhere, and these cryptocurrencies all through it, but it's not really healthy. The economic system is not really still healthy anyway. It's just that it's still being run by the regular old system, whereas Bitcoin is encroaching in, and now it's in the final stages where it's going to actually start to take over the entire world's economic system. That's the position that it's in right now. So it's the terminal phase for Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies where they actually take over the system. We're going to read a little bit of this here. It says governments should regulate, not entirely ban cryptocurrencies. It says, faced with the disruptive power of cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin and Ethereum, there are many central banks considering laws to regulate their use. Other countries have already come down against them. China has banned cryptocurrency exchanges, while India has stopped banks from dealing with anyone using cryptocurrencies. Can you imagine that? Use cryptocurrencies in India, they'll close your bank account, won't let you do any banking. This shows you guys. I'm sure all the other banks out there feel the same way. They feel threatened right now, the banks. They're threatened by this technology, but they don't really know what to do about it. Meanwhile, this technology is growing by leaps and bounds. It's taking over the system, and they're sitting there, and they are quite literally shaking in their boots, the bankers. This is why Jamie Dimon, he's kind of a mouthpiece for the bankers, and he come out really hard against cryptocurrency a while ago, I mean, they all feel the same way. They wish this thing was just gone. Remittances businesses like Western Union, they're very threatened by it because it can move money much faster, and much more efficiently. Cryptocurrencies can move money much faster, much more efficiently than they can. They charge huge fees, and this is how they've grown their businesses, these remittance businesses. This actually threatens the entire stability of the world's financial system, these cryptocurrencies. And as that stability is not only threatened, but actually they start to lose control of the world's financial system. We saw what happened in Venezuela. They turned to cryptocurrency when the country went into a hyperinflation. We're going to see that again in country after country. We have to take a look at the entire globe, not as a look at just our own country, like me here in Canada, not just look at what's happening here in Canada with cryptocurrencies, and not just looking, if you're in the United States, don't just look at what's happening in the United States with cryptocurrencies. Realize that this is a global phenomenon, and that cryptocurrency, especially Bitcoin, has actually become a world reserve currency because you can use it in any country on earth. It's starting to be recognized and accepted everywhere on earth, just like the US dollar, if not more so. More, really, what it really resembles is gold. Look, say you were to travel someplace halfway around the world, you know, and for one reason or another, you lost your credit cards or whatever, and you lost your phone numbers, you lost everything. They say they stole everything off you. They went into your hotel room and stole everything. Your passport, your visa, everything. But what they didn't get was a gold necklace around your neck. You could take that into some sort of a place of gold buyers all over the earth, and you could get the cash of that particular region, and you would have money again in that region because gold is accepted anywhere on earth as money. Well, Bitcoin is moving in the same direction, and you know the weird thing about it is it's getting so now that I think that a lot of places, if you had gold to sell them or you had Bitcoin to sell them, they would actually prefer the Bitcoin over the gold. And it's going to move more and more in that direction as time progresses. So I don't see these bans becoming effective, but we are in a war against the central banks and cryptocurrency. They don't want it. It threatens their very existence. And it takes that position of the Treasury away from them. This is the only dominant position that they've ever held or have that really gives them control. That's why they won't give it to Libra. But Bitcoin's already taken it. And they have went through unbelievable amount of tortured themselves trying to figure out how to get rid of it. How to get rid of this new technology. But once you know something, you can't unknow it. The world knows how cryptocurrency works now. Once you know something, you can't unknow it. And it's a new revolutionary technology that's so far ahead of this antiquated financial system that the world is progressing forward toward it and it's starting to embrace it. And they just don't know how to get rid of it. So what are they going to do next? I can tell you. They're going to imitate it. They're going to move very quickly into this. China's leading the way, but China has not released their new cryptocurrency as of yet that I know about. I think they're preparing it, right? And they're leading the way. China needs to get going on this because if they can get first mover advantage on a new cryptographic fiat, all of the countries are going to follow suit. The ones that get in there first are going to have the strongest new cryptographic fiats. Okay, so what we're going to have is a system of all the countries flipping over their currency into a cryptographic fiat. I'm going to call it cryptographic fiat because it's basically like cryptographic currencies, but it's fiat version. Well, what they're going to create is a new monetary system, a cryptographic fiat, just like the old monetary system of tangible fiat, the fiat, the paper currency you hold in your hand. What's changed, guys? What's changed? It's still fiat. It's just a new novel technology. Bitcoin will still, and the cryptocurrencies will still grow and still run parallel to it, just like they run parallel to the standard fiat system we have in there now. So they put this new cryptographic fiat system in, and it's not going to inhibit the growth of cryptocurrency at all. Because the fundamental reason why cryptocurrency is growing is they've mismanaged the fiat monetary system. Well, they'll keep mismanaging the new digital fiat monetary system. The new cryptographic digital fiat monetary system will be mismanaged too. Maybe all the more so. And Bitcoin ran parallel to the old fiat monetary system. It can run parallel to the new cryptographic fiat monetary system. So where are we done? We just created more of the same. But they think maybe it'll stop Bitcoin because it functions like Bitcoin. But the people know the difference. Their cryptographic fiat monetary system is unlimited in quantity. They can create as many as they want. Can't create as many Bitcoin as you want. So, good money will be saved. And the bad money, the fiat, will be dumped and used. It'll be used more. And this is what's going to happen to Bitcoin and the cryptographic fiat, the cryptographic currencies. The cryptographic currencies will be used more than Bitcoin because they're going to function really good. Like if the Chinese create a new yuan and the U.S., say, creates a new dollar that's cryptographic, it's going to work really good. It's going to be used a lot. People are going to use it because it's worthless. You don't mind spending it, basically. But you see your Bitcoin go up in price every year, higher and higher and higher. People are going to hoard them. They're not going to get used. You're going to see less and less Bitcoin be transferred across the internet because people are not going to use it as a payment system. They're going to use it as their savings. They're going to use the crappy digital fiat currencies for their payments, just like they do now. And this effect is going to even increase. So that's not going to stop cryptocurrencies. So you say to yourself, well, if they want to get that control of the Treasury back into their own custody, which is desperately what they want to do, and if this first move they're doing now to try to hold Bitcoin back doesn't work, and it fails, and I already know it's going to fail, then looking down the road, cryptocurrency will be that much bigger when in desperation they try to stop it next time. And what are they going to do? There's only one thing that's going to work for them. They got to make a digital fiat currency that's not fiat. That's the thing. They got to take fiat out of it. It's not going to work as long as it's fiat. They have to make a digital currency, a digital cryptographic currency that's run by the government, and they have to back it with something of value. So there's only two things they can come up with to back it with. Now remember, by the time they do that, they're going to delay this till this is going to be their last hope of bringing the power of the Treasury back to themselves. There's only two things that they can back it with in the world right now that are recognized worldwide and they're becoming, both of them, one of them is a store of value and the other one's becoming very rapidly a store of value, and that's Bitcoin and gold. Those are the two things they could use to back their government-issued cryptographic currency that's not fiat because it's backed by something. So they're going to have to back it with gold or Bitcoin. Now, say the United States issues a new dollar, and it's a cryptographic dollar, and it fails to go against Bitcoin. It loses value as quick as the old fiat money. And then in a panic move to get their value back, to get their treasury back, they decide to create a digital currency that's backed by something. So they head out to Fort Knox to see what they actually have out there. And it ain't much. So they're thinking about backing it with gold. So then they say to themselves, well, what are we going to do? Well, this new fiat digital currency that we created, it didn't work very good. It's the new dollar. Digital dollars. And by the way, I heard the other day they actually already have that. The Fed's already released it. I can't think of what it's named, but they're already working on it. So they release this new digital dollar. It doesn't work very good. Bitcoin just destroys it, basically. Destroys the value of it. Bitcoin's higher than it ever was. All of a sudden, they decide they got to create another new digital currency to fight against the cryptographic currencies, to bring back the power of the Treasury that now they're losing rapidly. And they know they got to back it by something. So they head out there and they check on their gold and they haven't got much. And then one of them comes up with a great idea. He says, let's just print off massive amounts of our new digital dollars, and we'll buy Bitcoin with them. And then with the Bitcoin we buy, we'll use that to back another yet newer dollar that's backed by something. Or they could try to buy gold. Either way, they're going to have to buy one of those two things. They're going to have to either buy Bitcoin, gold, or possibly both. My instinct tells me that by the time we get to that point in time where they're forced to do this, that it's not going to be gold that they're going to buy, because allocating it's too hard. Actually putting it in, storing it in a physical place is very hard. There's a lot to it. It'd be an awful lot easier for them to push a button and buy a whole bunch of Bitcoin to back their new currency with. But what's that going to do to Bitcoin? Think about it, guys, just for a minute or two. You know? But to me, it seems like a more viable solution rather than backing a new currency with gold, backing it with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin fits in with the new modern financial system so much better. They don't want to have to go out and actually allocate real gold. And there's probably very little at Fort Knox, probably not near enough to do the job. Isn't it much easier just for them to push a button at the Fed and buy a whole big slew of Bitcoins and use that to back their new currency? Anyway, I've kind of rambled on a little bit today. Thank you guys for listening to this show. And remember, HODL. Bye-bye, guys.